Anyway, yeah, it's been a while. It has been.
Here we are.
We're back again. You'd think we'd learn, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd think.
Do you know what? I mean, not all of it was sour.
No,
I can
no.
take a few positives from this, actually.
There is so. It's not. It's not wholly execrable. It's not. There are some. There are some good things, but for me, it did the Prometheus. It did the whole fucking Prometheus thing again. It's great potential, great ideas actually,
Mm,
and some decent things to work with. Some really good acting in this. Some good characters. Very
yeah,
obviously very good effects. And then it
yeah,
fucks it all.
yeah.
It just completely does. It does not know what to do with its own material.
I think part of the problem from there may stem from the fact that it was limited to 8 episodes in the season,
Hmm.
um, which for me is a bit of a problem because that's 8 hours worth of narrative,
Hmm.
and they sacrificed one of those hours for the sake of setting up bullshit in the last 2 episodes, which because
Yes.
it's one season doesn't pay off that bullshit.
No, I mean I
So
mean it really did start to fall apart in the last three episodes for me. First of all, you had that retrospective where it showed you what happened on the ship before. You did
yeah,
not need that.
now weirdly
Everything
enough,
There was
I
nothing in that episode that you needed to know that you couldn't just infer from the first episode. There was nothing in it.
no, but I said to Jen, surely it was annoys me is when you go like 3 days earlier or whatever the case may be when you have to have a flashback halfway through a season. This is one of the reasons why we watched the Netflix series of Resident Evil, but that
Mm.
had I can't remember the guy's name,
Yeah,
Lance.
who played Wesker?
Yeah,
Yeah, in one of his last roles. Yeah.
yeah, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't get along with that because every once in a while when the story is developing in real time, then you have to jump back 10 years and it's like
It's very
you're
telling.
slowing down, you're
To
slowing down the
Yeah,
narrative there. What I would have done,
it's fluff. It's padding, is what it
yeah,
is.
what I would have done is in order to keep the narrative linear and keep everything going forward, I'd have started episode one
Mm.
would have been exactly what happened in that flashback.
Right, right. I mean, even the notion of a flashback episode isn't that bad, but you've got to do something with it. You've got to
Yeah,
set up something that's surprising and that changes like the context of the main show because that gives it some worth, that gives it some point, yeah. But
yeah,
all that episode did was retread Alien. That's
yes,
all it
yes.
did.
Now on that, because I wasn't sure if because our initial discussion was going to be episode by episode. Then you said let's just do it over
It's
season overall. So I made
to
notes
be
per
honest, yeah,
episode.
I just don't think there's enough material here to go
No,
episode by episode. It is a classic example of it's a very pernicious disease in present day, like big budget TV writing, where they have the franchise, they have the audience, they have the established tropes and subjects and ideas, but there's no story. They don't
no,
know what to do.
or there was, but they didn't. Okay, so here's my thing. Right, so I put down for like sort of episode one. I looked for specific things in particular. So first of all, that opening scene, um, where it's the mess hall on the ship,
Mm-hmm.
fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Even to the point where they used very very similar character camera panning shots
Hmm.
around the table while they're discussing things. I thought to myself a bit of a retread of Alien, but the
Hmm.
attention to detail there in terms of the set design as well as the camera tracking was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, but at this point, I'm bored of that. I don't want to see references to the original film. I don't want to see recreations of the original films. I want to see something else. I want to see something new. And this, it had potential there. There are ideas here. There are like the little grains of brilliance. Like I thought when it introduced the Lost Boys, when it introduced the notion of the synthetic humans effectively,
Yeah,
I thought it was going to start talking about notions of consciousness. I thought it was going to explore that because like there's a whole mess of science fiction ideas buried in the core concept. So these are different from the synthetics we already know. The synthetics we already know already exist, and they're kind of like old hat in this world. People aren't that interested in them anymore. The
Mm,
ones which are created entirely synthetically and are programmed with personalities and so on and so forth. As we know from the previous Alien films, we know there are synthetic human beings. These are different. These are they are synthetic bodies with ostensibly the minds and consciousnesses of
children.
actual biological human beings transferred into them. Now,
Mm,
that whole concept throws up an entire mess of science fiction ideas relating to consciousness, the notion of consciousness, right? Because if there's a transfer, if you can do this, if there is a transfer of consciousness, then that means at this point, science and neurobiology and so on and so forth has managed to somehow identify what consciousness is. Yeah? Which it
yeah.
hasn't at the moment, by the way. It's
No.
one of the great unknowns. It's one of the great problems, like existential problems of areas like neurobiology and psychology and so on and so forth. What is
Mm,
consciousness? What is self? What is what like when you pare it down, what is it? What actually is it? If you can identify it in neurobiological terms, what is it? Well, this show suggests that it's an absolute thing because there is a transfer, apparently. There is some
yeah.
sort of like algorithmic transfer from the dying child, because all the children are terminally ill, by the
Yeah.
way, into the synthetic body. And that is really interesting. There's loads to play with there. Because you know what I thought was going to happen? I thought they were going to find out that the boy genius and his technology, he's selling them a line. It's bullshit. What he's actually done is algorithmically recreated or copied elements of their consciousness
We
into
thought,
the.
yeah. I mean, we thought it was going to turn out like so it's not actually their mind. It's
Right.
it's
And even, I mean, like, even if it is, there's loads of questions around the act of transference and the existence in an entirely other body. That by its, because consciousness has a completely biological root.
mm,
So the very act of transference into another condition necessarily changes it. Yeah.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
you've got all the other questions about how they can remotely control elements of their consciousness and their mind and alter elements of it where they can maybe enhance their intelligence or enhance their anxiety when they want to control them and all of that shit, right? There's a
Mm,
load. That's the good stuff in this show, or it would have been if it did something with it.
yeah. It dialed back on that. I mean,
It just
we
completely
we
dialed back on it and made them into like superheroes.
we had some theories, and not all of them turned out to be right. I mean, one of the theories was so the Elon Musk Zuckerberg,
Yeah. Do
obviously
you know
they
his name, by the way?
what the actor's name?
No, the character's name.
It's oh fuck me.
Yeah, because they
I
don't
did,
they
I
don't
did.
mention it in the show, which is interesting. It's
Um,
fucking stupid. It is
I
really fucking stupid.
I thought it was. I thought they did mention it, but maybe
His
that's just
name is I only found out about reading the wiki. The character's name is Boy Cavalier.
right. That's it. Yeah,
Fucking stupid. I mean, it really, really bad. You,
but I mean, it's spelled a different way, so it's like
yes,
it's
it's K.
Cavalier.
It's like
Yeah,
Cavalier, but like, I mean, you can get away with that kind of naming. I mean, it's almost like a Dickensian trope. You can get away with that if the story warrants it. You know,
yeah. We thought
um,
is it going to go down the secretly dying, and so that's his way of extending or trying to extend life, like Wayland was trying to do in Prometheus by looking
yeah,
for fucking ones. But the other thing that he threw up was, which is something that we was hoping it was going to explore but didn't,
mhm.
was the insidious element of rich people sending their sick children off to be upgraded as synthetic.
Right, right,
So that they've been
yes,
sold to lie every bit as much as the child has been. So
hmm
there's a undercurrent, a narrative undercurrent there that we thought, are they going to explore the quite frankly creepy aspect of
hmm
what these parents are willing to do? All right, so we can't kill the child. We'll just have them put in a so there is a a
Well,
very controlling element there.
yes, there's a whole mess of like philosophical and existential questions about consciousness and about death, right? About
Yeah,
the nature of death and about trying to cheat it, trying to overcome it, trying to synthetically undo it. There's a whole mess of questions there, and also there's a eugenics element too, because the whole thing with whatever you want, the lost boys, whatever you want to call them, they're a new life form essentially. So
yeah,
there's a whole ethical conundrum there. Do we have the right to do that? You know, there's a eugenics element too, because there is, that is something it does sort of start to play with, but it plays with it in the most narrow binary terms imaginable, yeah? Where they are kind of superior to us in many respects. I mean, that's a Frankensteinian thing. That's actually innate in the text of Frankenstein.
yeah,
There's a whole thing in Frankenstein about how the creature is almost like purer than humanity because of the nature of its birth and because it's removed from original sin and all this kind of stuff, you know.
yeah,
It's part and parcel of this subject matter, but it does it in the most comic booky binary way imaginable. Oh, humans bad, synthetics good, you know. And it's like it just doesn't work for me. There's a lot of stuff set up which I think is potentially really, really interesting, but which they do again nout with. So the notion of them being children who are now in adult bodies.
I mean, they refer back to it, but they don't
But it
do much
doesn't.
more than that.
All they do with it, all they do with it is that they make the synthetic characters sort of quibbly and uncertain, but they don't really do anything about the experience of it. You know,
Yeah,
it doesn't go anywhere. There's only one. I can't. It's the girl who goes off a rocker and starts talking about how she's going to have a baby and whatnot. That's
yeah,
kind of
that part.
interesting. I
That
liked
part,
that.
we were really like sort of engaged in that sort of. Where are you going
Yeah,
with this
but
one?
then they turn it
Was
off.
there was there something in your childhood, some sort of
Right.
traumatic thing in your childhood, which you remember?
Hmm.
What was
Or is it part and parcel of this transference? Is this like a flaw in the
like a bug?
transference that
Yeah,
screwed you up or something?
like a glitch in the transfer or
Yeah,
something.
either
Yeah,
that or just the experience of it itself is so traumatic and so weird and strange that it fucks you up, you know.
yeah,
Um, but they literally turn it off,
yeah.
you know, because they don't want to go down there. They want the action set piece, right? And this is too
I
complicated and too sort of it's too academic and theoretical to really make for what they consider to be good television. So they literally turn it off.
yeah.
I was very
I mean,
annoyed. I was very annoyed.
one of the things that I wanted to see they didn't really play on it enough was except the standout star of the show, of course, was these other species that they've
Right,
collected.
right. Now,
Yeah.
this is, I mean, again, when the show first started in its early episodes, and we saw
Hmm.
all of these other creatures, and not just the what you know sadly has become known as the xenomorph. I thought, oh, brilliant! Oh my god, thank God they've actually like expanded it out beyond the remit of just that creature.
Yeah,
And yeah, they're all good actually. I really liked all of the new creatures. I thought they were all really interesting. But once again, I mean, the most interesting one, the standout star of the show, obviously, there. I mean, if there is a second season, which I'm not sure there will be at this point, um, hopefully more of that because that was really interesting.
yeah.
But I
Well,
mean, the others are just used as excuses for like horror set pieces.
which is why I said they sacrificed episode 6 for the sake
Yeah.
of trying to do something with episode 6, 7, and 8, which
Mhm.
didn't pay off all the things that they sacrificed in episode 6. One of the things that I found really interesting, obviously, the little squid eye,
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah, everyone
Um,
loves the squid eye. The squid eye has become like the standout
yeah,
star of
what's
the
he going to get up
show.
to this week? Tune in and find out.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, and
there's a
they kept focusing on it too. I mean, there's a lot of development of that. I mean, it becomes a character ultimately, doesn't it? Because it
yeah,
can communicate, it's intelligent, it can do things. Um, but again, it doesn't really go far enough with it because it makes it just into a hazard. You know, it just causes problems instead of actually communicating.
Yeah.
I actually liked the idea that the boy Cavalier had of actually putting it into a human and having it speak. You know,
Well, yeah. I mean, I thought for a moment that his enforcer or something like
mm,
that was actually going to put him in that cage.
yeah. I mean,
Or,
that's another thing I thought was going to happen. Actually, I thought because the boy Cavalier character was so badly written and so stereotypical. I thought what was going to happen with him is it was going to be revealed that he was a synthetic, and he's kind of like he's programmed to be the face of the company because it's like it's a selling point. Oh, the boy genius who's so brilliant, and the Adrian Edmondson character was going to turn out to be the real owner of the company and the one behind
yeah,
everything. But yeah, no, we get this what I call. I mean, you were right when you called him the Elon Musk. He is the stupid person's idea of what a clever person is.
yeah,
You know, and his whole shtick about no one's interesting. I can't have a conversation with anyone. It just wound me up because it felt very synthetic and tacked on and very
mm,
very stereotypical for this kind of character in this kind of TV. You know.
yeah. And then a few episodes towards the end, I think it might be the last of it. It's just he casually mentions that blah blah. Blah, due to the childhood he had, that there's a strong insinuation that he either killed his
Right.
alcoholic father or the synthetic that he built
Mm.
did.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're just going to leave that there, are we?
We're just going to leave it. Yeah, we're not
That's
going to
that's
go anywhere with this, right?
that seems like quite an important thing that you
Yeah.
could
There's
expand
so,
upon.
I mean, given that's his backstory, they could have done so much with that because that would make him a lost boy too. And that,
Yeah,
you have this whole reference back to J.M. Barrie and Peter Pan and all this interesting stuff. But again, it's all entirely surface level. It's entirely
mm,
surface level. It never goes any deeper than the names really and the
yeah,
base situation. I mean, there's a real problem with marketing this show as Alien Earth. There really is, because it's not, is it? It tells you, the aliens are going to come to Earth and it's going to. No, 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 no. They're in this hermetically sealed island environment. It may as well be
yeah,
Jurassic Park. In that
yeah.
regard,
Actually, Jen did
yeah,
highlight. Yeah,
it's as contained and as synthetic as the spaceship. So
yeah.
suddenly it defeats the object of them coming to Earth anyway. It may as well have been on a fucking like space station or something.
Yeah, I mean, they said that they weren't really gonna, they weren't gonna acknowledge Prometheus or Covenant or something like that. But I thought to myself, you wouldn't need to do a lot on that front. Although you could tie in Covenant or something, you could say some of these species, like even like the ice squid thing,
Hmm.
were collected from the planet that David inhabited, the engineer planet.
Yeah. I mean that
Or,
it's ironic that they said they were not going to reference Prometheus because they may not have done so in terms of the subject, but they certainly did in terms of the storytelling.
yeah,
The style of
um,
storytelling. I mean, it's so Prometheus, and it kept, as the show was going on, it was reminding me more and more and more and more of Prometheus because it kept referencing ideas, bringing up ideas, and then not doing anything with them.
yeah. It's a shame. One thing I will say, one thing we found really interesting that again wasn't paid off is the when the little ice squid inhabits a human host and then decides to go one on one with an alien.
Right. What's
It's
that
like, okay,
about?
so what's so is have you recognised each other as, because it looks at one stage like it's trying to attach itself to the alien. It's like so
Yeah.
is there a recognition there from either one of you that either one of you could be an apex predator for the other one
Right.
or
I mean,
something like that?
yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh, that came out of fucking nowhere. That's really quite fun to see
Yeah.
these different species are going to have a word with each other.
Well, is
And
there? I mean, is there an implication of backstory there? Maybe I don't know. Maybe the eye creatures know something about
yeah,
this particular species or something like that.
yeah,
Um, and also, I mean, it's a weird thing, but the alien. I mean, yeah, it's a massive killing machine and whatnot. And I really like the designs of the aliens in this show because they're all actually like, they're there, aren't they? They're actually like
Yeah,
puppets and whatnot, which I really liked.
and sort of actors in suits and things
Yes,
like that.
yeah,
That's one of the
yeah.
things we talked about because there's a scene where it's running down a corridor or attached to a wall in a corridor, and we were talking about what new materials they must have fabricated the suit out of because
Mhm.
the actor's range of movement
Is yeah,
in the suit was fantastic.
yeah. I noticed that actually they can move. It's not like it's not like the 1970s where the costume is quite restrictive.
Mm,
The actors playing the aliens can move. They can
yeah.
really move,
And
and
they've
that's
clearly
cool.
got a background in like sort of dance or choreography or something like
Ballet,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, in order to
acrobatics,
that
something like that.
that's all the sort of stuff that I was like picking up on.
That was cool. I mean,
Which I
the pro-
guess is to the detriment
you
of the
know,
show because I'm like if the show's not gripping me in certain narrative points, I'm
right.
more picking out the lighting, the set, the camera
Yeah.
tracking,
Which,
the costume.
I mean, I don't want to give it short shrift. The production was excellent.
Yeah,
From beginning to end, the production was absolutely amazing, which you would expect given that it's got Disney behind it and like X amount of
mm,
billions of dollars,
yeah.
you would expect that. But I will always be looking at the story, I will always be looking at the story. And it became evident to me about halfway through, they don't know what they're doing. There's
We
no, they
we got
don't
that in episode 6.
yeah, they
I,
have like they don't know where to go with this material. They're sort of flailing with it, And also, this is a problem. This is actually a problem with the universe of Alien as it's set up. What specifically is it about the xenomorph alien that makes it so valuable to these companies? I mean, at this point, I know this is earlier on, but they expend a lot of money and lives and resources just to get this thing. And it seems to cost them a lot to do it, and it never works out. So, what is it specifically about that creature that they know about that
I
makes it
as
so significant?
Well, as far as that's what I sort of picked up from it was this show is supposed to be set 2 years before Alien,
Yes,
the
yeah,
actual
so
film.
I understand.
So this is before the Nostromo picks up the distress call to divert course.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
at which stage the company already knows something specific. So the Weyland have gone out to collect species, which suggests that they knew or had some
Yes,
sort of record from the
doesn't
Covenant
it? Doesn't it?
about, which again kind of ties it back to Covenant, even though they said they weren't going to. They
Uh,
know what this is capable of, so they
yeah,
picked up the other species along the way. Fine, but what this sort of series was suggesting to me was they the implications of it is because Wendy learns how to communicate with it, and
right.
therefore the alien becomes a little bit almost not a pet, but more domesticated or
It,
more
yeah,
like sort of. So I thought to myself, are they trying to imply or infer for the future of the series that there is a knowledge of that it can be to a degree controlled?
it can be controlled, or is it? I mean, like I always felt that the reason they wanted it is that there's something innate to it, like it's genetics, it's biology, or something that is somehow
Hmm.
that they feel is going to be useful in some sort of like I don't know biogenetic experiment or like
Hmm.
cultivating human immortality or the next stage or a super soldier or the next stage of human
Yeah,
evolution or something like that, something a bit more esoteric than just training it to be like an attack dog, although I mean
yeah.
that is potentially very interesting, the fact that the alien can be controlled in, I mean it's not controlled with Wendy, it's a little bit more subtle than that, it's communicated with,
It's
isn't it?
imprinted on her to a
Yeah,
degree
yeah.
because she's there to witness it burst out of the lung of her brother,
Mhm, mhm.
which again was in because she hears the scream of the facehugger when they dissect it to take out the little embryo. Which again,
Yeah.
you've never seen that element of the life cycle, the little tiny
No.
little head with the jaws, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, to which they've implanted into the lung. So because it hasn't got the gestation of a normal full human uh, chest cavity,
Mhm.
is there something innate to its behaviour if it's born from a lung or something.
Or something different. Is it slightly
the first time
different?
it sees her, it's transfixed by her as soon as it's born.
Yeah,
So,
interesting.
and if I've heard they are doing a second season, so I'm hoping
Okay. I mean,
if they
if
do, pay
you
that
know,
off to some
if they
degree.
do, they need to expand it out a bit more. They need to start having a bit of faith in their ideas, in the concept, and they need to start exploring it. They really, really, really need to start exploring it a bit more.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just bring these ideas up. If you're going to do it, then
You need to
explore
do it.
them.
Yeah,
You know,
follow through with it.
follow through.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely follow through. And it's in danger of just toppling over under the weight of ideas. That's a big problem because you've got so much going on. You've got the innate conditions of the alien, all the stuff that brings up, you know. You've got
yeah,
the problems, the issues relating to consciousness and its transference and the synthetics and their existence in an adult body and all that stuff. You've got the
yeah.
other stuff, which they should have done more of since it's set on Earth. There was some of it, and I liked it. I liked it a lot, where they were exploring what culture and politics are like on Earth now. I like that. More of that, please. Let us see just
Yeah.
how meaningless humanity actually is now as a,
Well, yeah,
you know,
because they suggest that it's now basically five corporations
that
that
rule
are
everything. But
running things,
yeah,
which suggests some point in the next 2 years, narratively from its timeline, something has to happen where it's basically only Wayland
where
Yutani.
it's only Wayland Yutani, yeah, which
Yeah,
takes over everything, right?
in that 2 year period, something needs to happen because Wayland's the only one you hear of. Even though actually you don't even get its name
No,
until Aliens, do you? It's
no,
the company, but it's always referred to as the company, and
the
it's never
company.
suggested
That's right.
that there's any kind of competition anywhere.
No, you get the impression from the first two films certainly. By three, you get the impression it's all collapsed anyway. But by two, um,
Yeah,
you get the impression that it's a mega. It's not even like a mega corporation. It is the dominant, only exclusive power. There is
yeah,
nothing else, right?
yeah. Which they explored very nicely in the opening third act of Alien Romulus.
Yeah, that first
Really,
act, which was so good, that first act, which was so good, and which the rest of the film should have been about, really. I mean,
yeah,
that's I mean, if you are going to call this alien Earth, then you need to set up what Earth is, and we do, credit to it. It does do a little of that. You see a little of what it means to live under these corporations and how they actually snare human beings through various means. I mean, when the brother's lung is replaced, obviously he suddenly becomes
yeah,
property of that company.
yeah.
Um, I kind of like that stuff, and I want to see more of it.
The main problem I had with the title of the program was it instantly conjured up um, the book series Earth War
Hmm.
from the 90s,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where it was implied that these things were everywhere. And it was
Right.
basically a fight for survival
Hmm.
because these things have done exactly what Ripley said they were going to do. If just one gets loose on Earth,
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
it's lights
It's
out,
game
basically.
over, right? It's game
Yeah,
over. Yeah.
yeah. So I thought to myself, how are you going to address that? And I suppose they get around it by having like a secluded island somewhere. But I thought to myself, well,
It's
yeah,
a
but
bit synthetic, though, isn't it?
that's
That I
a bit,
mean,
yeah,
you know, that's the point, isn't it? I mean, that's part of the writing that really got on my nerves. There seemed to be a lot of forced writing to contain the situation,
mm.
right?
I mean, if you wanted to call it Alien Earth, what you could have done is have a situation a bit like Romulus,
Hmm.
where it's loose or gets loose on a space station directly above Earth, and
Right,
therefore
right.
you've got to try and prevent it from going downstairs. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and with regards to, there's the other thing as well, isn't there? There's the thing with the Lost Boys. I liked the idea of them getting off the island and going
Yeah.
among humanity. I thought that the potential of that is really really interesting, but it doesn't look. I mean, it certainly doesn't happen in this series, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen in the next one either. So
I mean, we'll have to see on that
we'll
one.
see, won't we? But
I mean,
I mean,
as I said, I've got
you
loads of
know,
notes here, loads
it's
and
a
loads of notes
shame
here.
because I liked most of the Lost Boy characters. Wendy was really interesting. You know, I liked also Morrow, the cyborg guy.
Yes, now that again added an element that wasn't previously present.
Right, right.
So
So
you're dealing with in a society where you're dealing with people who can be augmented. You're dealing
yes,
with a society where they can be augmented in replacement or like contrast to already established synthetics, and now you're going to introduce whether it be pseudo science or not, like sort of transferable consciousness and something like
yeah.
that. So
I mean,
you're looking at three different types of essentially human replacement.
yeah, it was really interesting actually. I like the dynamic of Morrow because it did humanize him a little bit, you know. I like
Yeah,
the notion that the companies are leashing human beings to these contracts that are like lifetime contracts. It's like 30 years or whatever you're going to be away. So your family are going to be either dead or different, or they're going to have forgotten you or whatever. And
yeah,
also on top of that, you've got the Deus Ex stuff, you know, as in the video game Deus Ex, you know, where you've got like upgraded human beings where they have synthetic parts grafted into them to either make them smarter or stronger or more lethal or more capable or whatever. And that
yeah,
makes them property, like their bodies and minds become property of the corporation.
yeah.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. And I liked what that did tomorrow, where it made him like completely nihilistic in a way. He didn't really care very much about anything, did he? He like
No,
any notion of morality or humanity, he'd abandoned as a result of that. And you kind of get it when he's talking about it. He actually does have a conversation about it, doesn't he? Where he talks about how everyone he ever loved is either dead or has forgotten him. There's nothing left now. You know,
yeah,
I kind of like that because that demonstrates that's another little microcosm of what's happening to humanity in this dystopian setting. That's the good shit. That's the
yeah,
good shit. All of the, you know, it's just swamped by so much bad, you know.
yeah. It's sort of yeah. I get what you mean. I mean, there's one thing from what was it, episode 5? I think there's a scene where there's like all these spores from like this like sort of different things in the air, and that's so
Yeah.
how comes? Why did you walk in there? Why is no one wearing a mask
Why
or
is
anything like that?
no one wearing a fucking mask? Why is no one taking like even like basic hazard precautions that people
yeah,
do now when they go into a building with dry rot? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
It's like,
and
come on.
and they had other interesting things, like whilst they're checking the crew recordings and that in episode 5, the camera lingers on a chain hanging from the ceiling
Mhm,
for no reason.
mhm.
It's the way the camera is placed, the chain's moving, and the way it emits a shadow on the wall, and that it's like you
Yeah.
think to yourself, is it going to crawl down the chain? And you see it via the shadow's perspective, and
Well,
that it didn't
it's
happen. But we was
no,
like,
it's
yeah, it implied
deliberately,
a lot.
you
Yeah,
know, it's
it had a lot of
deliberately
callbacks.
it's deliberately trying to call back to Alien, and it's like I am so done with that. I'm so
I
bored of
I
it.
do I do appreciate that, but what I will say is the callbacks that they did do were very well executed.
They weren't. I mean, they
So
certainly weren't as obnoxious or as like as Alien Romulus became.
yeah,
You know.
so
Um.
when they did the like the in terms of like sort of you're looking at the shadow of the
Mhm,
chain on the wall and sort of thing like that, and the way the lighting is, and again where the camera's positioned in that,
mhm.
it's a subtle callback or inferring from previous things without actually being overtly
Without
obvious
being
about it.
too bad. Yeah.
Unless you've
Absolutely.
seen it like sort of 250,000 times like we have, and
Yeah.
you're looking for specific things, it wouldn't be necessarily immediately obvious that's what it was trying to convey, or
No,
at
you're
least what I
right.
assumed it was trying to convey.
It is not obnoxious with it in the way that Romulus was. You know.
Yeah,
There was never a point in Alien Earth where I was like, fuck this, I turned it off, you know, where
but,
there was with Romulus, you know. Um, it's I think it has the ghost of potential. I think if it really leans into its ideas and has the courage of them in the next season, you know,
yeah,
I think it could be good. I think it could be really good. It needs to drop certain things, or it needs to change certain things. The boy Cavalier character needs like a whole rewrite. or it
or
needs to,
or removal. I mean,
yes, or
there is an
removal.
insinuation towards at the end of the episode where she's got the the not no longer she's got the adult alien and an
Yeah.
adolescent alien next to it, and the
Hmm.
adolescent alien has been born naturally, but is still enthralled by her. Weirdly enough,
Yeah.
whether or not it's taking cues from the adult
Hmm.
or not,
Hmm.
again, that's an interesting uh, behavioural trait there that you've not necessarily seen before, unless it's them taking directions from the Queen, not necessarily each other.
Right, right. I mean, that's the other interesting thing, right? Where Wendy is almost set up as like the queen. She's set up as the new, as almost like the not only the ruler of the island. I mean, there are
Yeah,
certain things about that element of the writing that really did vex me as well. Are you seriously telling me that this company doesn't have fail safes for if this happened? Are you seriously telling me there isn't like a
a
button
kill
or
switch.
something where, or even just like a word or a sound or something which can be emitted, which will just turn them off or will drop them immediately, like deactivate them immediately if they get a bit too uppity? I mean, given what a control, well, not only what a control freak Boy Cavalier is, but just the way these companies operate, how
Yeah.
controlling they and the investment of
Well,
these of are you seriously telling me that they wouldn't there's a lot of things like that where in order for the story to progress they just have to ignore things like some of the things the Lost Boys do when they're on their own, or when Morrow is talking to that one of them, and they just let it all happen. It's like,
yeah.
come on, are you telling me that they are not watching every single fucking thing they do 24 hours and recording what they do
Well, I mean,
24/7?
to be fair, I mean, that's kind of inferred with Kirsch, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but it's only him that's watching, and I'm like, fuck off. There would be teams. There would be like entire departments watching these people and
Yeah,
everything they do
true.
and controlling them and containing them and making sure that their environments are completely controlled. You know, this is that element of it. I thought they could have played with more. I thought,
Yeah,
again, one of the things I thought they were going to start doing is really screwing with their consciousness. I thought they were going to be start like, that one's getting a bit too uppity, heighten their anxiety,
yeah.
make them a little less assertive, that kind of thing.
I thought it was. What I took from it was like sort of Kirsch has like somehow has got his own agenda that
Yes.
he's sort of working towards in the background. Well, not even really.
Not much in the background in the
Not
latter
subtly,
episodes.
not
No, no.
subtly. But what I will say is what I would have liked to have seen. This is just the kid in me.
Mhm.
More Adrian Emerson would have been nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought because of the way he was always lingering in the background and he was always so poised and quiet, I thought he was going to be revealed as like the villain of the piece.
Yeah,
I thought what they
but
were gonna.
but props to him because he suggested that and conveyed that very very well indeed. There is
Mhm.
something because obviously he is like he originally trained as like a straight actor and only got into
Yeah.
comedy really by accident and that.
Mhm.
Um, but we've always known him for his comedic
For
roles
his
and the things that
slapstick and stuff,
yeah.
yeah.
So to actually see him play the Insidious
Yeah.
character, he does that very,
He
very
does
well.
it
He does
very
that
well,
almost
doesn't he?
without trying. There's
Yeah.
something very, very unsettling about watching him
Absolutely. Yeah,
play
he
that.
was he was very effortless and this shadowy presence, yeah, where you
Yeah,
never,
you felt
right
he
at
was dangerous.
yes, but you didn't know why, right? You didn't know
Exactly.
like what
Yeah,
what I mean, I thought he was going to turn out to be the person, the one pulling the strings ultimately.
yeah,
Um Clearly that's not the case because he's a synthetic, right?
yeah,
He's one of the androids. Which is interesting because he's still around. That character is still alive, right? So he will be
yeah.
turning up in the next season, presumably.
I hope so. But up until the point where she basically took him over, there
Hmm.
was no indication that that's what he was at
No,
all.
no.
That I liked as a reveal, not my favorite reveal,
Hmm.
but I liked the way it was done.
Yeah, and it's good seeing him. I like seeing him in dramatic roles. I know Adrian Edmondson has been really trying to break into a lot more dramatic roles lately.
Yeah,
And he's now been in two really big science fiction franchises. I mean, he was in Star Wars, obviously.
yeah,
Um, and now he's in an Alien bit of
Yeah,
work, which is kind of cool. It is kind of cool to see him, you know.
yeah,
And I don't want to sell the show short. I mean, my big problem is the writing. The acting almost universally was brilliant. You know,
mm,
the actors in this are great. They're really really good, and there's a lot of fun things for them to play with. Because particularly the adult actors who are playing the Lost Boys,
yeah,
they're having to play as children in adult bodies. That's very 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 hard to do.
yeah.
It's hard to
But
write, it's hard to act, it's hard, it's a very difficult thing.
out of all, of them, I don't remember the actor's name, but in all of them, the black gentleman in particular kept his portrayal of a young child
He
spot on
really, yeah,
throughout.
yeah, he
Uh,
really kept it,
he
didn't he?
sold
Yeah,
that element. He didn't falter, didn't break it at any point in that 8 episode run. So
yeah.
hats off to him. He was brilliant.
He was very very good actually. In fact all of the Lost Boys I really liked. And again, I wanted more of them. I think it should have maybe focused down a little bit. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it cast its net too wide, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe it needed to focus down on one or two of the story elements and concepts and just really delve deep into them. That's kind of
Well,
what I want
again,
to
eight
see, you
episodes.
know?
8 episodes.
Yeah,
It's not enough time to do all the things that you've suggested or
right.
started. It's just not enough time. I
Right,
mean,
right.
there
So,
is an argument. There is an argument to be made with how TV used to be back in the mid to late 90s, where a season would be 26 episodes. Granted, by today's standards, the
mhm,
budgets for those episodes would be considerably less than they are
like
now.
minuscule, yeah.
Yeah. However, having said that, towards the latest season, like sort of the seventh series of Star Trek: Next Generation, or
Mhm.
towards the end of Buffy the Vampire Slayer run,
Yeah,
the production budgets were getting higher for programs that were still 20 to 26 episodes a season.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so really, if you wanted to invest in it, and you can't tell me Disney couldn't fucking really pull the money
Exactly
out
right.
and
You
do
you
it.
are not telling me that Disney do not have the money.
They're not short of a few bob, are
No.
they? Quite
And also,
frankly.
I mean, like it's counterpointed by the fact that this season wasted at least two episodes, two whole
Yeah,
episodes doing
yeah. Episode
nothing.
6 for certain. I mean,
Yeah,
episode 6, I wrote the least amount of fucking notes on, quite frankly.
just like kind of
Um,
spinning its wheels in a weird way. And the
yeah,
thing is, you can feel it doing that. You can feel it trying to fill the time, and it's like, well, why are
yeah.
you doing that?
Me and Jen looked at each other, and we're 25, nearly half an hour into this, and this episode has done less than fuck all.
Yeah,
So
right.
we were
Actually,
we're a bit concerned by that.
yeah,
Um, yeah, only to set things up that didn't necessarily pay off the way I think they intended to in episode
no,
7. It's like, what,
no.
you sacrificed a whole hour of that for
Right.
nothing.
There's something about the last episode, where it feels really compromised. It feels really
Yeah,
rushed and backy and
the
forthy, as
last
though
the last 10, 15 minutes is like, well, hang on, that you've suddenly done that, you've suddenly done this, you've suddenly done the other.
mhm,
You could have you could have stretched that part out easily
yes,
throughout a whole episode and played on that entire thing. So yeah, there were elements towards the end where they said, all right, we've got to wrap this up and give it its
yeah,
tantalizing sort of series to be concluded section.
mhm.
But there were elements of the episode, the series overall, which I felt didn't deserve it necessarily because they wasted
They wasted so much time
probably
on it,
more time
right?
than they should have done. Yeah, I
And
mean,
they could have
you,
done more with that. They could have done like there were certain things that they really needed to set up and delve deeper into that they didn't, and which as a result, when they do come up, are a bit weird. So
yeah,
Wendy,
well,
I love
I,
Wendy as a character. Wendy was great, but
yeah.
there are certain things that she can do towards the end of the show where I'm like, what? Why?
Since when?
Yeah, why is it she can suddenly control all the systems on this island? Are you telling me there are not failsafes? Are you really seriously telling me that
Yeah,
this contingency wasn't considered? And all they had to do was set it up. All they had to do was have a scene where they're talking about how you are linked into this system. This system is
yeah,
part of you, and this is your playground. That's what we designed you for. That's why we made this island. This is yours, so you can control things like the temperature, the sound, the volume, the climate, all of that kind of thing. And it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That makes it interesting.
Yeah, but now I
But they
can do this. Hurrah!
but suddenly she can start controlling like the security devices and the cameras and the locks, and I'm like, well, how and why?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, this even if it was a 10 episode season, that's not enough time to give yourself a little bit of fucking about room. If one of the reasons why a 20 to 26 episode season works so well is you can afford to have a sort of of those episodes or 6 of those episodes as nothing but filler episodes.
Right, right.
You can give yourself the breathing room to do a little bit of whatever. We'll just do that.
Mhm.
And people won't really question it so much. But if you're going to start pulling that shit in something where you're trying to tell this story in 8 hours, you haven't got the time really to give
No,
yourself that luxury.
it needs to be tight, doesn't it? The writing
Yeah,
needs to be like really tight. It needs to be like a bit more like, do you ever see that TV series, The Terror, Jer?
I did not. No.
Oh, really? Oh my God, really go and watch that. About the 19th century ships, the Terror and the Erebus, and how they get locked in the ice on their expedition, and it's about
Oh no, that.
how so fucking
Oh no,
brilliant.
hang on. That did crop up on.
Yeah,
We recommend you watch some load of bullshit sort of thing. Um,
that is
yeah,
stunning.
that's on Amazon, isn't it? So
It
that'll still
is,
be.
it is, and
Yeah.
it's so good. Honestly, it's such a good show. The writing in that is so fucking tight. It's so
Okay.
exquisite. It's like nothing wasted, not a jot or
How
tittle
many how
wasted.
many episodes is that?
I think it's the same as this. It's about 8, I think. It's not very long,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it's a complete story, and everything works. All the character dynamics, all the politics, all the themes, all the ideas are explored to their very full, and then some. And
Okay.
then some. It goes even, it shows like The Terror are the benchmark insofar as I'm concerned. They are
Okay.
how and it doesn't, and The Terror doesn't have the budget that this show does. No, I
Wow.
mean
Okay.
it's not
Fair
a
enough.
small budget show by any means. It's a good budget, but it's nowhere near this. It's nowhere near this. So there's not an excuse, is there?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
that's
exactly.
that's the big
It's
thing that gets me. If it's got this backing, if it's got this money behind it, it should be good on it doesn't not just good, it should be fucking spectacular on every level. It should
yeah.
have the best of the best of the best of the best. And it just doesn't. Like aesthetically it does. Like the production, fantastic. Like down
I,
the line, fantastic.
yeah.
But the
I wonder if programs like this don't suffer from when you talk about the lack of imagination in writing, they're written by people who are aware of a franchise but not necessarily uh, overly familiar or entrenched within its law or its boundaries or anything like that. So have you got
Mhm.
a bunch of people who say, oh yeah, so we're writing this to fit into the alien world, but you would need people who are intimately familiar with what it's supposed to be.
Yes, and you would also need a story to tell. That's the big thing. That is the big bugbear.
Well, yeah,
These things like Alien Earth, it's a collection, it's a big bag of ideas. That's all it is. It's ideas that were thrown around a boardroom meeting at one point. And some of them were fleshed out and some of them weren't, and none of them were really given enough focus. But because it's an alien show, and the people behind it, the people with the money know that there's an established audience, they just
yeah.
kind of let it go out there, half
Well,
baked in terms of
well,
its
yeah. In that
writing.
case, maybe the environment, maybe the setting is not appropriate for the story that you're trying to tell.
Well, maybe not even
Because
bother. I mean, like
because
if you
there's no
don't
point at any point during this. There's no point that there's a suggestion that the alien is going to get off
off the
the island
island, right? So
and go
what's the
anywhere. So
point?
so there's no real threat in
No.
terms of because we all know what it's capable of. There's a fantastic scene where it does like the sort of predator thing in the jungle, where it
Yeah.
drops down. This is one of the things I will say in its favour that you've never really seen. It's been inferred, but you've
Hmm.
never really seen is how quick an alien actually is in terms of dispatching.
Oh,
things.
yeah.
So in Aliens, where they dropped through the ceiling and sort of things like
Mhm.
that, and you had loads of them calling up, this one alien, when it's in that apartment block, goes through a dozen people in less time than it takes for you to open a door.
Yep, 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 yep. That, I mean, that's
The
something they get.
choreography and the
Yeah,
plotting and how it will go from one, how quickly it can turn from one to the other, one to the other, one to the other, and go through all these people. That was amazing
that was
because
really
you think to
good.
yourself,
Yeah.
this has always been suggested or inferred. You've never had the opportunity to really see what this thing is capable of,
No,
and
you
that was
never.
amazing, brilliant.
No, it's they've always had issues like demonstrating the lethality
Yeah,
of the alien, like the real sheer
which is
lethality of
why
it.
which is why we were talking about, because in quite a lot of those shots, like they were close camera shots and some of them were quick edits, but most of those shots, you could sort of tell in one instance where it jumped across the room. Okay, so that's the CGI tracked alien there.
Yes.
But for a lot of the close-up shots where it's moving and spinning around, that's obviously a performer in the suit, which is why we were talking.
Right.
What are they making these suits out of now for them to be able
Yeah.
to do this,
To
like sort
let
of flat
people
down to
do
the ground,
this, yeah.
spin round 360-degree leg out kick and then whip the tail around and go like that. How are you? What have you given these actors to work with? So
Yeah.
that's where we ended up going with it, because some of the ones, because it does it the same as I said in the jungle as well, where it jumps down from the tree and it goes through six of them in no time at all. It's like that,
Mhm.
the choreography and the tracking and for everything for that was brilliant.
This is it. When it's doing the superficial stuff, it's really good. When it's doing like action set pieces, all of it's good.
Yeah,
It's all very well done. It's very well shot, and it's atmospheric and so on. Um, but it just doesn't get the story beats right. That's the big thing. It doesn't get the
yeah,
story correct. I mean, there were bits towards the latter episodes where I was like, fuck off, seriously, fuck off. The sequence where the synthetic kid who's helping out in the lab opens up you know, he
yeah,
opens up the the containment unit with the bugs that eat synthetic materials.
yeah,
And I'm like, this is Promethean levels of dumb.
yeah.
Like in
The
terms of the
Prometheus score running
writing,
away from things.
that's just dumb. That's really bad, convenient
Yeah,
writing. I
I
mean,
think that was the episode that lost us, episode 6. Actually,
yeah.
if I'm, yeah,
I was just like, fuck this. This is stupid. This is dumb. And it wants its audience to be dumb enough to swallow it, and I don't like that. The concept and the design of the bugs is great. I think it's
yeah.
really cool. The notion of an alien species that eats synthetic materials, I think that's a brilliant concept, an absolutely brilliant concept. And they could have
What
done so much with it.
Well, initially, what I thought the series was going to be, so they've collected like sort of 4 or 5 species.
Hmm, hmm.
I thought the way it was going to go was it was going to sort of give almost each individual species like a one shot episode within that,
That would have been good. That would have been a
and
great
then
structure.
you might not even get to the actual alien of the franchise
Hmm.
until towards the latter end of that. So we'll see really what the ice squid is and what it's capable of. We'll
Yeah,
see what
yeah.
these acid spitting bugs that use synthetic material. We'll see what there was another one like an earwig that sort of goes up into the air, and it looked like I think it was like in episode 1 or 2, one of the salvage things, and it looks like
Hmm.
this guy's brain just like sort of leaks out of his ear
Yeah.
afterwards. And we were like,
Yeah.
and they didn't go back to that after that. That
No,
was it done.
that was it, right?
So
Yeah. No, you are right. That would have been a good structure for the show. That would have been a really good, interesting structure for the show, because it would have made each of the episodes like an interesting story and project in and of itself, with an overarching
uh-huh.
story, obviously.
Yeah,
Um, it would have given the creatures just as conceptually much more to do,
yeah,
way
and
much more to do.
then you could have tied it back to, well, actually maybe on some sort of if they were going to tie it back to Covenant or anything, maybe there's something deep within their genetic code where all these different species are somehow related, and
Related, right?
if so, is there a pecking order? Because don't
Mm,
forget, in the lab, they lost fucking containment about 4 or 5 times throughout the course
I
of the
know,
episode, right?
I
So
know.
you think to yourself, is there like a pecking order or some sort of like sort of chain here?
Right. It's yeah, right. There's a lot that could potentially be played with here. Ideas that are kind of suggested, but don't. There's just it's nothing's done with
Yeah.
them.
because they haven't got the time. The time they do have, they sacrificed, I'd say, easily 90 minutes out of that, easily
Easily,
out of the
easily.
whole 8 hours on just like sort of doing fuck all.
Doing
So
nothing, yeah, doing absolutely
going
nothing.
forward, I would say season two, give yourself some breathing room and do yourself
Please.
10 to 12 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Because
stop. I mean, this is just a disease of present day big budgets like TV. Please stop worrying about the next cool scene. You know,
yeah,
please stop worrying about the next fucking set piece. You've got the ideas, you've got the setting, you've got the monsters, you've got the characters, you've got the
you've got the
actors. This is
audience.
this is yeah. So come on, do something real with it. Have a story to tell.
Yeah, which is what I'm hoping is going to be the case with the sequel to Romulus.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's happening. I mean, I am at the point where I'm almost burnt out now. I
Well,
think, you know.
there's a part of me that refuses to be completely down in the dumps about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Mostly. I mean, on Romulus, as we said, didn't work on
mhm,
like a couple of levels.
mhm,
For the most part, what they did was you could see they put so much fucking work into it. I actually had to give
mhm,
them respect for that. So, and it's supposed to have the same director as well. So, I'm
mhm.
hoping listen to a little bit of the feedback that people had
Yeah,
about it, and build. Don't just dismiss it. Build on that feedback and go, all right,
yeah.
well, fuck, it, we could do that better then.
But what the creators of Romulus really need to do, they need to unshackle themselves from the franchise. That's what they really need to do. They need to say, okay, everybody knows this is an alien film, so we don't need to keep fucking reminding them.
No, what I tell you, what would be awesome was if they adopted a couple of things from this series
Yes.
into that. So maybe in the future, in Romulus 2, maybe you've got a specimen of the
Yeah.
ice squid or something like that, or
Well, yeah,
that would be a very
I like,
very
you
interesting.
know, I love that idea. I mean, like maybe I don't know whatever happens with the Lost Boys. Maybe there are more of them now.
Yeah,
Maybe there's a whole like subspecies of these synthetics that have gone out into the universe and I don't know,
yeah,
try to found their own societies and whatnot. There's all that potential here. There's all
yeah,
that potential. Um, and I want to see it. That's what annoys me most, I think, about this series. About like it's not just this series, but it's the franchise, you know?
yeah,
Um, the first three films play with ideas really well and subtly and in a brilliant and profound way. And I want to see more of that. I want it to be smart again. And I want it to not just pretend or play at being smart. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I
Absolutely.
want it to actually be smart. I mean, it's a wider issue with storytelling in the present day. It really is because it's a wider issue with our cultures and with our societies, which is we have very shallow and very aesthetic ideas, superficial ideas of what intelligence and depth and meaning actually are. We don't
Yeah, but
understand. Our cultures do not understand the difference between presenting a mask of that and actually demonstrating that.
yeah, but a lot of people's attention spans are now fucking what they used to be greatly reduced. So,
Yeah, yeah. You thank the
uh,
internet and Netflix and whatnot for that, unfortunately.
yeah, and YouTube Shorts and
Mhm,
TikTok and shit like
mhm,
that. That's another rant for another day, though. I think.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah. All in all, if I had to score this out of 10, I would give it probably a 6.5.
It's a six. Yeah, a six sounds good. Sounds right for me, to be honest. I mean, I'm not. I'm not. I am not. I probably won't watch this series again. I'll watch if the next one turns up. I'll probably watch it and see where they go. But
Yeah,
it's very contingent on the first couple of episodes. You know,
yeah.
if it's just
Which
more of
which is
this, then I
interesting
probably
because the first couple of episodes of this fucking nailed it.
they were good. Yeah, the first couple of when I first saw the first couple of episodes of this, I was like, okay. I was quite excited. I sat back and thought, oh wow, maybe they've done it. Maybe they've looked at all of the feedback, all of the things that people like have said about this franchise, all of the problems with the previous films and whatnot, and maybe they've said, right, we are going to do we're going to put our whole arse into this.
I think at some stage they did say that.
I think,
I think
yeah, there is, like I said, you can see where this could have been an amazing series. And I mean, like, stand out,
across the board, yeah,
amazing, because the ideas are there. The ideas are there, they're just buried. They're like, they're smothered beneath all of the redundant shit.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the
Hope
most
springs eternal.
infuriating thing. Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, if they actually start playing with what we've spoke about, where with the notions of consciousness and all of that kind of thing, this could be really interesting. I mean,
Yeah,
really bloody interesting. As it stands, it annoyed me. It
yeah,
got
yeah,
it got under my skin at various points, especially when it started to feel like Prometheus. Um,
yeah,
but I can see how it could be good.
yeah. And
You
that's
know?
what you come back for. So,
Yeah, I know, I know.
so the question I put to you there is: are you annoyed at the source material, or are you annoyed at yourself for not entirely giving up and going, well, let's just try it?
Part of me is annoyed with that, I'll be honest. The fact that we keep coming back, yeah. And it's annoying because it's got us anyway, hasn't it? It's
Oh
got us
yeah,
by nostalgia. It's got us by, Alien and Aliens and, they're formative texts, aren't they? So
absolutely. Yeah.
it's got us. We are probably going to watch. It's like fucking Hellraiser for me. I will watch
Well, yeah.
everything. I mean, even though you can count
More
the
off.
number of decent
Yeah,
you can count the number of
three.
decent films in that franchise on the fingers of one hand after a particularly bad combine harvester accident.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah, but
It
we
is what
do
it is.
keep going back, don't we?
Well, do you know what? It'll be interesting because if season two comes out, or
Mm,
Romulus two, or whatever the case may be, and you might find that you've been pleasantly surprised,
wow, that'd be nice.
and yeah, so
It does
that's what I'm
happen.
hoping for.
It does happen. I mean, like, if you'd said to me over a year ago, oh, there's going to be two new Silent Hill games, and they're going to be, not only are they going to be good, they're going to be two of the best in the franchise next year,
Well,
I'd have told you to fuck off.
now yes,
you
now
know.
on that, I know that's a different discussion point, but
Mhm.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing your playthrough of Silent Hill 3 when it's done because
Oh,
I don't
oh.
think I didn't get along with the first game when it
Mhm.
originally came out. The second game I really enjoyed, but I don't think I
Yeah,
completed. Silent Hill 3, I did.
yeah.
I
Silent Hill
completed that.
3 is
And
my favorite in the
that one,
franchise.
absolutely, that one, creepy as all fuck.
So
Um,
good. It's so good. And, Bloober Team, they're doing 1 and 3 because they're both halves of the same story, obviously. So
mm,
that, I mean, one is going to need more work than all of the others because, of course, that was a PlayStation 1 game. So that's
yeah,
going to need work
that's
in terms of the story as well as, everything else.
yeah.
So that's going to
Well,
be
they
the
can do it.
hardest one. Yeah. Oh, I've
I
got
mean,
after Silent Hill 2, total faith in Bloober Team. Total faith.
Silent Hill F. We had
It
so many fucking theories
was
about what was
so
going on there.
good, wasn't it?
We might have to do a separate discussion video on that, and
Yeah, I loved
because
it. And I
that
mean,
would be yeah.
you haven't seen everything yet either. If you play New
No, I
Game
know.
Plus, it's substantially different.
We will be tuning into that one for sure.
Yeah,
When you do it.
I'll be doing. I mean, I'm just having a break at the moment, to for a bit of
Well,
variety.
I mean,
Play.
it was fucking it was heavy.
Yeah. Oh my God, wasn't it? I mean, it was much more so than I thought it was going to be. Actually, it went deeper than I thought it was going to.
Yeah,
Bloody hell, Hinako, Jesus Christ! I mean, Silent Hill protagonists, they've always got problems, but Jesus.
yeah. That we. I mean, I mean, if people haven't seen the playthrough, go and watch it. I mean, the scenes of like sort of mutilation, sort of thing like that. We
Whoa.
sat there going, "Whoa, really? I don't think Silent
Yeah,
Hill has ever done this before."
no, no. There were certain sequences where I was like, "What?" It really was just WTF. It was like
Yeah,
I have no. Yeah. What else?
yeah, exactly.
What else are they going to do to her?
But yeah,
Um,
I would happily sit down and discuss that with you at some point.
yeah, I'd love
Definitely.
to. I'd love to, and I loved playing it. I've got to say, I thought it was spectacular. It's at least as good as that Silent Hill 2 remake.
Yeah.
It's at least as good. And when I first saw what Silent Hill F was going to be, where they transplanted it from Silent Hill from the USA into a Japanese setting, I was like, because literally, how do you do Silent Hill without it being set in Silent Hill, right? Um,
Yeah.
but they've done
It,
it before. They did it with The Room, which is also very good.
I
Um,
remember that. Yeah, I got a certain way to that, but then I got stuck.
that it's a very oblique and very difficult game. That one.
But I've still
Um,
got PlayStation 2 and I've still got it. So,
It's
maybe.
good. I mean, Silent Hill 4 is excellent, and if they remake that one as well, I'd be very pleased because that is a very good story. Um, I mean, they could even remake the shit ones and make them good.
Yeah,
Silent Hill Origins and Silent Hill Homecoming.
Downpour.
Down, maybe some of them may be beyond saving, but Homecoming. Homecoming is a really frustrating experience because the story's actually really good, but the game
That's the one where it
sucks.
starts off in the morgue.
That's the one. It's the one where
Yeah.
you play this guy from a neighboring town called Shepherd's Glen, and
Right, I turned it off after 10 minutes.
yeah,
It really annoyed. It did the same thing that Resident Evil 6 did,
yes,
which was pissed me off as soon as I started playing it,
yeah,
and yeah,
it's
gave up.
full of combat, unfortunately, and the combat
It
sucks.
really annoyed me. It
It
really
sucks,
from the open. So you wake up in the body bag and that.
That's
I'm
right.
trying to get out of
That's
the body
right.
bag and then moving. I I got really annoyed really quickly. I went, "What
Yeah,
the fuck
most
is this?
people did. Most people
Fuck
did.
is this?"
And it's a shame because it has some of the darkest moments in a Silent Hill story. There's this whole thing in Homecoming about how the people, in order to stave off the influence of Silent Hill,
Yeah.
there's this whole thing where the families of Shepherd's Glen sacrifice their firstborn children in
Oh.
order to, and they have to do it in such a way that it's horrific and agonizing. And the boss monsters, the big creatures that you face in Homecoming, are all the souls of those murdered kids. And the
Oh
things they
wow.
come back as reflect the way they were murdered. It's really
Wow.
nasty.
Okay.
It's really nasty. I wouldn't advise playing it. Watch a playthrough, and then
Yeah.
you'll
Well,
get it.
as I said, the actual playing experience of me
This
was
is it. This is
the
it.
controls. It was very unpleasant.
Yeah, really good story. I mean, like really good story. They could do things with it if they just all they need to do, use the same engine as the Silent Hill 2 remake, give it exactly the same fucking controls, downplay the combat a little bit, and it's there, done.
Yeah.
Done.
Cool.
It would be good. It would actually be good, you know?
Yeah.
Um some of the others, I don't know, Downpour,
Well, let's see how well Silent Hill 1 and 3
1
are
and 3
received,
do, yeah.
and then
But then again, I mean, like 1 and 3. I mean, in a peculiar way, Bloober have got it almost easy now because they've got the engine with Silent Hill 2. They don't need to do anything with that engine. They just use the same engine for 1 and 3, and they don't
yeah.
really
So
need to do much. I mean, like the 1 is more difficult because they do need to rewrite it a little bit, and there's some stuff they need to rejig to make it work. Because it is a PlayStation 1 horror game. It's not as sophisticated as the stuff that came later, obviously. But
yeah.
3 should be kind of easy, you
Yeah,
know?
I'm very much looking forward to that. So we'll see.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, let's see.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you, Jay. That was great. Before we go, is there anything you want
Yeah.
to chuck out there?
Oh,
These are
Jesus,
people.
that's a fucking loaded question. Right.
Ah,
So yeah. So for those who aren't familiar, I had a YouTube channel for 18 years that I was doing very well on.
Wolfgang
Finally, in
1.
the
Yeah.
last year, Wolfkang1, that was arbitrarily shut down based off malicious false flag report. I tried.
This is a wider problem with fucking YouTube.
It really is.
Know?
It really is. Now, I went on Twitter and discovered that loads of small time channels had been shut down for literally no fucking reason. So
Literally
I
nothing.
appealed it. YouTube came back within 5 hours and said, your appeal isn't upheld, blah, blah, blah. I've got one more chance to do so, but I'm thinking to myself, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
So over 1,100 subscribers, 18 years worth of content, down the pan in a Swanee. So because I'm arrogant enough to do it, I decided to start again. So if anyone wishes to head on over to a YouTube channel called Wolfkang 1.0, because I took the laziest approach to rebranding I could think of. Wolfgang 1.0. I'm mostly uploading stuff from the last 3 years at the moment because the last 3 years was my most prolific. I uploaded about 500 videos in the 3 year period.
Yeah.
I do have new content on a Friday, but for the most, it's mostly just repeats. But if you want to go over and show some support to Wolfgang 1.0, by all means, feel free to do so. Your contributions will be greatly appreciated.
Brilliant. There's a link below, by the way, guys. There's a link to Gerard's new channel down below, okay? So go subscribe, yeah, okay?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem at all. As for myself, guys, I'm here. I'm on exaggerated elegy. We will be doing you know how we normally do our Spooktober season, my little podcast group and I. We haven't done it yet this year because of the personal issues and whatnot. But we are doing that at some point this year, so that'll be coming relatively soon. There will be the Christmas ghost stories, which we do every year in the writing community. Those will be going up as well. Sooner than any of us would like to think, I think. I just started a new Let's Play as well. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. Fucking hell. Whoa. It's a French game, and it is one of the... If it doesn't sweep every award this year, then there's no justice. It's relatively low budget, but it's what happens when the arts just come together and produce something exquisite on every level. The music, the conception, the world that it paints, the writing is unreal. If this were a novel, I'd be turning cartwheels over it, I'm telling you. The writing it may be one of the best written video games I've ever come across.
Okay,
it is fantastic.
We'll check that out, definitely.
Honestly, Jay, it's so good. There's 2 episodes up at the moment, and it is so good. I can't even tell you. It's one of the best video games I've played in donkey's years. It's just brilliant.
Okay, we'll check that out.
Just amazing game. In terms of my published work, if you go over to strangeplaygrounds.com, you can find links to all of my short story collections, or if you go to amazon.com or .co.uk and type in George Daniel Lee, you'll find my Amazon author page, which has got all of my short story collections and also all of the collections and anthologies and things that I've been published in. There's also my ongoing non-fiction series of essays over at Ginger Nuts of Horror, My Life in Horror. There's a couple of those due to go up very, very soon. If you go over to Arrow Films, there's a couple of bits and pieces over there that I feature on now. I'm very, very pleased to be making headway in that. It's not something I expected to be doing, but hey-ho, here we are. If you go to the Hellraiser Quartet of Torment set, UHD and Blu-ray set, myself and friend of the channel who features quite a lot around here, Kit Power, we are on the Hellbound disc. We are on the extra Hell is What They Wanted, and it's an hour and 48-minute chat about Clive Barker and Hellraiser and queer horror fiction and all sorts of stuff. It was brilliant. It was really, really good fun. Also from Arrow Films, if you go and look at the John Carpenter In the Mouth of Madness set that just came out, I also feature on that in the extra We Are What He Writes. And there's also one of my articles and essays in the insert booklet, which is it's quite a long essay actually. It's about the metaphysics of the film, called God Is Not a Hack Horror Writer.
Cool.
There's also another DVD which I feature on. My friend Jonathan Zarin, who I met via these experiences. Jonathan organizes and films all of the extras for Arrow Films, and this is how we met him. He actually produced and directed both the Hellraiser and the In the Mouth of Madness extras. He made a film. He made an indie film called Derelict, which is doing very well. I mean, like, very well. It's got some releases across the internet. I think you can get it on Amazon at the moment. And there's also a DVD of it. And I feature on the DVD in another filmed extra talking about the themes of the film and whatnot. And there's also an essay that I wrote and narrated, which is also on the DVD about the film. So that's Really kind of
Cool.
cool. Yeah, more of those. I'm hoping to be doing more of those before very long. Beyond that, I think that's it for me, actually, for now. More Clair Obscure upcoming because I can't put the fucking game down. And I'm sure Jer and I are going to be back as soon as we'll be back before any of the new Alien stuff comes out because
Yeah.
there's a million and one things we could talk about.
Oh,
But until
always.
then, oh yeah, absolutely. Let me know, Jer. By the way, anything else you want to chat about, please let me know. But
Yeah, we'll
until
do.
then, guys, bye bye.
Take care.